Evie's old house greeted Lucy with a whirlwind of emotions. Her heart beat in unison with every frayed edge of furniture and discolored corner of wallpaper. This relic of the past held secrets Lucy had only yet to unravel. The situation isn't ideal, but it's the best thing for Evie, Henry, her husband, reassured her. Lucy nodded, absorbed in thoughts of the new chapter of their lives. Her gaze slid to Vicky and Tommy exploring the new territory. "Mom, why are we here?" Vicky asked innocently. "Grandma Evie needs us, dear," Lucy replied firmly, hiding a note of doubt. Their new home was filled with Evie's endless muttering. "Can you believe it? Bertrand got a promotion," Evie proudly announced. Lucy smiled, pensively contemplating the impending ordeal. Rethinking the old space was proving to be a daunting task. The house stood like a monument to time, its creaky floors and tattered wallpaper evoked a wave of memories. Lucy took on the task with confidence, bringing new life to corners lost in the dust of time, while the air was filled with dust specks dancing in the light. "Oh, what stories these walls could tell," she whispered to herself as she wiped down her father's old desk. Remembering the old days, Evie filled the room with melancholy. "And you know, my dear, Bertrand won a gold medal for his painting at school," she said proudly, pointing to the piece that adorned the wall. Lucy, trying to catch every word, marveled at Evie's stories, which seemed to compete with the running time. "Wow, Bertrand is a real artist," Lucy exclaimed, genuinely amazed. A spark of pride lit up in Evie's eyes as Lucy carefully wiped the vintage photograph, feeling a wave of pride and joy. Lucy couldn't turn away from the stories that hung in the air of this house. She whispered to herself, imagining its once warm and inviting domesticity. Her desire to breathe life into the musty rooms was powerful, but she was quickly confronted with the challenges that caring for an ancient home presented. Creaky steps and the constant noise of antique appliances plunged her into a delicate balance between past and present. "Mom, do you have any idea how people got along without smartphones?" Tommy exclaimed, looking at the retro phone in amazement. Lucy laughed. They had adapted better than she had expected. For Lucy, the house with all its secrets and cracks became a blank canvas on which she began to paint a new picture of their family life. Amidst the problems, she found moments of friendship and hope for a bright future. But in the old house a trial awaited Lucy. Bertrand, with his childish whims and endless requests, began to test her patience. "Lucy, where is my favorite cereal with marshmallows?" came his voice from the living room. Lucy sighed, realizing that she had gotten too caught up in pleasing his fickle desires. "Bertrand, they're on the top shelf. You can get them yourself," Lucy said, trying to foster independence in him. "But you do it so well, Lucy. Everything tastes better when you cook," he replied with an innocent smile. Lucy smiled back, but her patience was wearing thin. The chores and Bertrand's antics were beginning to wear her down, especially that evening when she was trying to cook dinner. When Bertrand entered the kitchen with yet another cranky request, Lucy could feel her patience breaking. "Lucy, could you make spaghetti with those noodles I like?" he asked, stating that his book was waiting for him. Lucy sighed deeply, trying to remain calm. "Regular spaghetti is on the menu tonight, Bertrand. I'm sorry, but I can't accommodate every special request," she said, trying to deal with the onslaught. Insistent in her whims, Bertrand crossed his arms and pouted, resembling a resentful teenager. There was a wave of tension in the house, where duty and immaturity came face to face. Lucy wondered how much more she could bear under the weight of Bertrand's hopes and demands. Facing unexpected obstacles brought her to the brink. What started out as an ordinary evening turned into a bizarre incident. Bertrand's inappropriate advances stunned Lucy. "Lucy, let's drop this routine and go on a new adventure," he suggested with inappropriate confidence. She felt goosebumps on her back at his words. "This isn't funny, Bertrand." "Stop it now," she replied, feeling shocked and annoyed. But Bertrand, either under the influence of alcohol or mistaken confidence, continued to smile defiantly. "Come on, leave it alone. You're better than Henry," Bertrand provoked, pushing the atmosphere to the limit. Disappointment swept over Lucy. "I'm not your wife or your parent. This behavior is completely unacceptable," she retorted, trying to ignore him. As she tried to leave the room, Lucy felt him grab her arm. "That's enough, Lucy. Relax," he insisted, but she pushed him away. Suddenly, Bertrand lost his balance and fell down the stairs, the rumble attracting the rest of the family. "What happened here?" Henry surveyed the scene worriedly. "Oh, it's nothing, Bertrand just slipped," Lucy said, trying to lighten the situation. Their gazes met, full of unspoken words. Lucy was left to deal with the aftermath of the incident, which was quickly forgotten at the family council. The echoes of Bertrand's unwanted advances still echoed through the house, leaving an unpleasant residue. But the real turning point came when Lucy went into anaphylactic shock. Her breathing became labored, her throat constricted from the unforeseen allergy. "Please call an ambulance," Lucy wheezed. Bertrand, suddenly dazed, frantically picked up his smartphone. Every second was critical. "The number. Give me the number for the ambulance," she shouted. Realizing the urgency of the moment, Bertrand finally dialed 911. Lucy was relieved as she was quickly whisked away to the hospital where she was to receive life-saving care. In the chaos of that night, Bertrand's determination saved Lucy's life. In the hospital room where Lucy was slowly regaining consciousness, Tommy held her hand, his face full of gratitude. "Thank you, Bertrand. You saved her life," he said, overwhelmed with emotion. Bertrand, embarrassed, replied modestly, "I just did what I had to do." But even amid the gratitude, Lucy was overcome with worry. How could there be an allergic reaction in someone who had always been so careful with his food? Questions swirled in her head even after she was discharged from the hospital, and the anxiety wouldn't let go. The truth began to unfold like a thread from a tangled web. Conversations with Lucy's family revealed a startling intrigue involving Evie and Bertrand. "Mommy, that was so scary," Vicky said as she approached Lucy. "Grandma and Uncle Bertrand were up to something." "What do you mean, Vicky? What did you hear?" Lucy looked at her daughter with bewilderment. Vicky shared that she had overheard a conversation about putting something in her food, and her concern was palpable. The shocking revelation gave Lucy goosebumps. She faced Evie and Bertrand, demanding an explanation. "So this is your way of thanking me for all my help? Through evil design?" Her voice shook with betrayal and anger. Lucy's frustration peaked when Evie put on a mask of innocence, feigning embarrassment. "Lucy, I really don't know what you mean," Evie said, trying to deny her guilt. Bertrand, on the other hand, finding himself in a corner, tried to soften the situation. "It was a joke, Lucy. We didn't think it would turn out this way." Lucy did not accept these explanations. She felt betrayed by the people who were supposed to be her support. "You have failed not only me, but our whole family," she said, her words full of bitterness and resentment. The trial began and the family bond was put to the test. The family's social status suffered, and Henry, usually so stoic, could not contain his anger at his mother and brother. "Mom, how could you? We came here to help, and you're against us?" Evie, faced with the consequences of her actions, tried to justify herself. "It all went wrong, Henry. We just needed the money. You know how much trouble we're in." Lucy remained resolute despite everything. "Next time, ask for help if you need it. We're supposed to be a team." It was a statement of support, but also of boundaries that were not to be crossed. All of these events have left an indelible mark on Lucy and her family. Time would tell if they could survive this and rebuild the trust and closeness that had been so ruthlessly broken. Lucy realized that the betrayal they had experienced was a serious blow and could not simply be forgiven. But she also realized that life had to go on and she was determined not to let these events ruin their future. After the trial, Evie and Bertrand were charged, but family ties saved them from jail. They were required to pay Lucy's medical bills and other expenses, which was a kind of punishment for their actions. The scandal alienated their friends and acquaintances, and the family became isolated. It was difficult, but it also provided a chance for a fresh start. After returning home, Lucy and her family began to rebuild their lives. A friend, seeing a family photo, asked about Evie and Bertrand's return. Lucy confidently replied that they would carry on without them. "Sometimes the hardest challenges come from within the family," she said, emphasizing that they would make it through without those who betrayed them. Over time, the family found a path to healing and restoration. They learned to adapt to the new reality while remaining free from the deception that had previously threatened their bond. As they looked to the future, they were ready to face its challenges and opportunities, remembering the past as a lesson that made them stronger.